spent most of my life making movies at DreamWorks, and for 17 years. And I lived among programmers and artists and storytellers. And about 3 years ago, I decided that, mostly because of this little kid, that's my son and my daughter, the way they kind of changed their relationship with technology and I wanted to do something different. So I left the company and I founded my own company with my wife and a co-founder. And we started making apps with the idea that the kids should interact with the real world around them, and parents and educators should be involved. That's a big problem. But anyway, but what is important is that storytelling is changing. Storytelling is continuously evolving, and this new medium is really changing the way the new generation, or even our generation, is interacting with media, is consuming content. Again, this was for the presentation that has to do about how the new generation don't touch. And so that we wanted to, connect and use cameras, microphone, and everything possible to color. Why color with a digital color when you can color with the world that is around you? So phone have changed a lot from the brick that actually I think I used a long time ago. I'm that old. And also the way we consume media from 1888 to 2014, the Google Cardboard that was presented here. Some fashion has changed, but back then we were trying to consume media in a kind of a stereoscopic form, but now we can carry it wherever we want, wherever we go, and we can watch anything we want. And the phone actually is very interesting because the phone knows where we are and what we're doing and how we're feeling and can adapt to that. So what has also changed with this new technology, with VR, AR, and the work that we're doing at Google in another department, the next building from where your son is, just next door, is that with this device now in my hand, the relationship between the actor and the viewer has switched. The contract between the storyteller and the viewer is changing. There's a potential change. So what happened now is that the viewer is at the center of the world, at the center of the play that is happening, and everything else is happening around you. And you can look around and you can explore. You can potentially even move with some of the devices, and you will move around with that. And that changes the way you can tell stories. You cannot use the traditional language that we evolved over the last 150 years in movies and even more, in telling stories in front of a fire in a cave. And so this is what we set out to explore in this project inside a special group, advanced technology projects in Google called Spotlight Stories, and explore how we can push the interactive storytelling on device in new directions. So what Google did, put together the director of Ratatouille from Pixar and a bunch of people from Pixar, Disney, and DreamWorks, and a bunch of coders and programmers, and put them together, and we are developing technology so that people can tell stories. We start telling our own stories, and we start partnering with artists and studios around the world, and we produce a bunch of stories, 4 so far. They are very expensive and lengthy to produce. And one of the stories that we produce to test the technology and to push the boundaries is one with Glenn Keane. Glenn Keane is probably the most incredible animator that we ever have, and he's alive and still drawing after Tarzan, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin, what else, everything that you've grown up with. And the first 2 projects in Spotlight Stories were 3D animation, and you pick up the phone and you look around and your story is all around you and it's evolving and maybe it's waiting for you until you look at the right space to continue. For this we wander into the traditional animation, hand drawing, and he drew everything by hand all by himself. So what I'm going to do is because this is a very difficult to demo, I'm going to show you what the short is if you were to look at the TV today, like everybody is experiencing a short. So it's a very linear story. This is not the way the story was intended to be seen and consumed, and the actual way is on the device. But what happened is this is not a flat story. That's not a story that involves in a linear fashion in front of you. So I'm going to just improvise, since we don't have a connection, and I'm going to ask you to play. So she's going to start the story. You can hold it, and now you start dancing. So as she moves around, she's going to start the beginning. The camera is locked on the character, but she's going to discover that the two kids are born and they get together. So every time the kids meet, wherever your eyes are going, you're going to follow the boy or the girl. If you're looking at the boy, you're going to follow the boy, and the girl is going to move gracefully to the side. Everything's happening around you. There's a big void. So you decide which story you want to follow. You decide if you want to follow the girl and see how she grows into a big dancer, or you can follow the boy becoming a surfer, and then always meeting the girl again, and then you decide again. You have another opportunity to choose one or another. And you're going to be in control, because you are now in control of the camera. You're not controlling the story. It's not a video game. You're not going to interact with the character. You're not going to talk to them or punch them or anything. But But you're gonna listen to the story that is being told to you, but you have some sense of control. And this is a big challenge for the storytellers because they have to tell the story, move the story forward, but also at the same time explore this incredible new opportunity to put the viewer in the center of the stage of this amazing play that is playing around you. You lost it. So this is the same technology now is applied to multiple shorts that we are producing, and some are being produced outside Google. There's a big tree somewhere, and up in the tree there's a girl. Oh, the butterfly. And so what we're doing, we're developing the software and we give it to the storytellers so that they can create these stories. Last week at Google I/O at the conference on Friday, we presented a new short that is live action. It's extremely expensive and time consuming to shoot in 360 with the special effects. But it shows that we can do 3D, 2D, and live action with the same technology. And the idea is to deploy and to create this sort of market for short stories between 5 and 10 minutes that can be consumed everywhere you want on your device. You don't need the cardboard, even if you can use it if you want to. You don't need an Oculus or whatever fancy things is going to come up, but you just need a phone and 5 minutes of your time and some imagination. The other interesting thing that was announced on Friday is that our rendering engine is now inside YouTube. So that means that you don't need an app because you already have it. And so that opens other opportunities for the creators. And we don't have yet a plan on how this is going to reach the masses. You still need it's not that the person that at home is taking a picture of a video of his cat on a Roomba is going to now make 3D movies like this, but definitely storytellers and anybody that wants to create interactive stories that fits this medium will be able to access this technology and use it. I know that you're lost, don't worry.
Good job, Kevin.
And the other thing that is extremely complicated is the 3D sound, because the sound is actually all around you, and the sound is an incredibly important part in this, not only the camera and the way the camera moves. Because now the storyteller has to, and the creator has to give away the camera. And this is the biggest thing that we find when we talk to the directors. We're working right now, we're doing a short with the director that just won the Oscar for the short from Disney. And he's interpreting the technology in an incredible way. He just immediately understood what he wanted. And so the app right now is available on Android, and the iOS version is pending. Actually, the other thing that is very interesting for this group is what is happening inside the building where I am. That was presented last week at I/O. I should urge you to look at the video from Friday. There are two things that are very interesting: Project Soli and Project Jacquard. Project Jacquard is textiles that is touch sensitive, and it's any type of fabric that becomes like the surface of your tablet, but it's your jeans. And they made in 10 months, they were able to create this amazing technology. And the same group also did Project Soli, that is a miniature radar like this that allows you to detect every hands movement. So instead of me turning a dial like this on an actual dial, I can do it up in the air, or I can rub my fingers and that becomes a slider, or I can tap my fingers and that becomes a tap. They're both inside ATAP. They were presented on Friday morning at the ATAP presentation. And there are just two of these kind of advanced projects that are happening inside this building, in that building where we kind of have 2 years and money and team and just go ahead and try this.
Pay attention to this because the steamroller slide, Laura's Law will
squish you if you're not careful.
Hi, it's an amazing technology, very beautiful. But my impression is that when we see this beautiful piece on the screen, all the technology becomes invisible, and we're washed with the emotion of the film. And when we see it on Spotlight, the impression is that the technology takes first place, and somehow it diminishes the emotion of the piece.
I think it's a very personal thing. One other thing that happened to me when I saw the piece, I joined the group in October when this piece was wrapping up, and I picked up the phone the day I met Glenn, and I started dancing and crying. Because what happened for me is that I was not watching on a screen that was 50 feet away or whatever. It's huge. It was me and the piece. And I had that relationship that I didn't have with a TV or anything else. And it moved. And it moved with me. I was able to say, okay, next time I'm going to follow this other thing. And so it's the strength of the storyteller to give you that opportunity and not to make it just a linear thing. But the relationship there with the piece was way beyond what I get out of the 2D. And beyond that, for me, it's a great piece of animation. It's one of the greatest pieces of animation I've seen in a long time. But the way it connected with me, the sound, the animation, the little touches, and the fact that I wanted to watch it again, really made it like many times more important. But it's not for everybody. Not every storyteller is going to be able to immediately understand this new language, because we don't know. We don't have tools. We don't even know how to storyboard a movie like this. And we're building these tools. This is a new language. So, but it doesn't substitute that. But the work that I think Bjorn and others are trying to embark into.
Anybody else?